Hola, this is Kai Pancho with a weekly Pele report. Yeah. There is so much going on and so much to talk about. This could be an hour-long Pele report. So I'm just going to start out a little bit to just give a background of some of the major big things that they're kind of culminating. April is going to be like the real culmination, as you can rather get from this week's mantra. Yes. But let's look at what I'm talking about here, because I'm going to go back to November, because November was the first time that Jupiter, okay, came into a square with Pluto. Okay. That's coming back. Jupiter's squaring Pluto again, okay, tomorrow, Thursday, okay, the 30th of March. It's going to go up and go retrograde and come back. Let's watch it, okay? Here we go. So from November, this is one thing now. You see Jupiter moving up. Everything else is going around. Jupiter's going up, but what I really want to get into also here now is what? January 25th. Boom. Yeah. So Jupiter went up to 22, Pluto went up to 17, and Venus went up to 22. Look at this. Exactly 22 degrees. On January 25th, Venus comes into a conjunction with Chiron. Now you can see that this conjunction of Chiron, Venus, and even Mars there in January, if you can remember back to that last week of January, it was pretty intense, because these were also what? Square to Saturn. Okay? This is very important because it reflects back to, these are things that began in November and January, and now let's look at what happens. Both Venus and Jupiter go forward some more, and then they go retrograde. Yeah? You can see Jupiter now is going backwards. It's retrograde. And as of, yes, now by March 8th, Venus is now gone retrograde. So they're coming back to visit those very same planetary positions again. Oh yeah, what I forgot to get into here was what? Let's go back a little bit. Saturn conjunct the galactic center. Saturn at 27 degrees, okay, is conjunct the galactic center from March 8th until May 10th. So you'll see Saturn is just going to sit there for a while as we go forward, we go forward, we go forward. Jupiter turns retrograde. Venus is retrograde. Oh, here we are this week now as of what? Sunday. Venus goes back into Pisces, okay? And even as soon as she's back, you know, into Pisces, she's what? Square Saturn and conjunct Chiron again. Let's go back to, really, what is it? On March 30th, okay, which is tomorrow, Jupiter retrograde is in this square. 19 degrees to 19 degrees. So from November, it came up. Now it's coming back. Okay. So Jupiter square Pluto again. Venus conjoined with Chiron again. And Venus stations right there. Okay, I'm going to break it down to days now. Okay, here we go. Watch. Here's Venus. 20 at they're all at 26 degrees now. You see Venus and Chiron both up there. The S is station. So at the same degree of Chiron, Venus stations and sits there for 5 days at the same 26 degrees before she moves on. Okay, so from April 12 to April 17, Venus is visiting Chiron again. Okay, then she moves forward. And then, of course, the last thing that, I want to just, bring up for you is what? Well, Jupiter, again, goes retrograde. Saturn, okay, is retrograde back off of the galactic center, but going back, back to 21 degrees. And what happens? But Jupiter goes direct. And it comes around. Saturn goes direct. And it comes around, and really by what? Jupiter squares Pluto. When's the last time? August 4th. August 4th. So in November, Jupiter comes up. Okay. End of March, Jupiter comes back. And the beginning of August, Jupiter goes forward again. And the last thing that I want to show you is in December. Oh, stop, you dirty dog. My software got away from me. Ah. I just want to go, that Saturn comes back to the galactic center here. Okay. December 1st. So we have this. This is the flow. Okay. Direct, retrograde, forward. Let me look at the camera, talk about what that means, and see if we can make sense out of the mysteries of the planets transiting across the face of Creator, the great celestial sphere. Oh, yeah. Okay, I am going to try to make sense out of this smorgasbord of what is going on these days. I mean, first of all, today the moon just went into Taurus. So I am like Sitting Bull. I don't feel like going hiking by the river. I'm just sitting here in the backyard. And there's like so much to talk about. I don't want to be distracted. I mean, it is a time where we need to really concentrate a little bit here and figure out what the bleep is going on. Woo! Yeah. So Mercury goes into Taurus. Did I mention that on Friday? Mercury goes into Taurus. So then we're going to have Mercury and Mars in Taurus. What I didn't really mention now is also, but I'm going to talk about it more next week. Okay, and the week after that, because Mars in Taurus and Venus in Aries is a mutual reception. So much to do with our relationships, the balancing of our masculine and feminine, aggressiveness, okay, and receptivity, the ability to shout out our position and what we want versus our ability to listen, be calm and stay cool and adapt, yeah, receive criticism, constructive. This is, really an intense time, and Jupiter square Pluto is part of this intensity, and of course it is still in opposition to Uranus. This T-square is just bringing us more. It's like we're on the floor of the Wall Street stock market or something, It's just like everything is like fast and sharp and big money at stake, and so big powerful people at stake, our reputations, our power, dealing with people that are trying to manipulate us or change us, or and this is all like it's a very intense time of transformation. It's like we're getting squeezed, okay, like a pimple, we're getting squeezed to get out, okay, all that is not true, all that is not us. Saturn conjunct the galactic center. I talked about it before. Defragmenting our hard disk involves letting go of the familiar. And this is what Philip Sedgwick says so good. I caught it today, reading that thing again about the galactic center. Again, I'll put his thing in the notes. The psyche can very often mistake the familiar with the good. We can unconsciously just be comfortable with the known and the familiar. This is why so many men marry their mothers, and so many women marry their fathers, or so many people get caught up in the same, they get 5 divorces and they're all for the same reason. You know, it's just like repeat this pattern, repeat this pattern, repeat this pattern. Why? Because it's familiar. The way that I was loved by the parent of the opposite sex when I was a baby, that's what I think love is. It could have been abusive, it could have been, you know, inappropriate, it could have been beautiful, but that was my experience of love. That's what I think love is. And we hold, the psyche holds on to these things. And Saturn coming around to this galactic center, and Chiron coming around to square that galactic center. Okay, Saturn is the root chakra. Okay, it's where we hold on to things for survival, for security. This is not even sexual. This is deeper than that. This is life and death. So when Saturn hits that galactic center, we're all getting pressured. The root chakra is getting like squeezed, okay, to like get out the old patterns, the old beliefs, the known familiar stuff, maybe from lifetimes. This is karmic stuff. And it's very amazing now that we have what? Well, Venus is retrograde. Jupiter is retrograde. Okay? In the next couple of weeks now, well, next week, yeah, what is it? Monday? No, next Wednesday, Saturn goes retrograde. On April 9th, Mercury goes retrograde. Retrograde. Reflect. Review. Remember. Release. Okay? It is a time of reflecting on our limiting core beliefs. And how is the universe helping us with that? The universe, the galactic center, is just like stirring and shaking our foundation. Okay? How stable is your foundation? You know, is your house built on sand? Or have you set in solid cornerstones into your personal truth? So this is just a time where we can feel, and this is where the shadow comes in. This is like bringing up, okay, you know, the way that we have been looking at stuff. And Venus coming around is going to station at the 27th degree of Pisces with Chiron. I showed you, right? She's going to sit there for 5 days. She's going back into Pisces. It's almost like she came across, you know, Chiron, okay, and then said, oops, I forgot to tell him something. Oh, he was going to give me something and I forgot to take it. I have to go back. I have to go back down, okay, down into the underworld. Chiron was another being that died and resurrected. Christ consciousness, death, resurrection, Inanna, Venus, descending into the underworld, coming back up again. This descent into the underworld, and even going back from Aries back into Pisces. Okay, you know, she's going to be in Pisces here now for a little while, a couple of weeks, I think. And connecting with Chiron, our wound. Our wound. And this wound can be what? When we want to hold on to an illusion, okay, and maybe an innocent childhood illusion that all men are like this, or all rich people are like that, or money's the root of all evil, or, you know, sex is bad, or all these core root beliefs that we have. We need to reflect and remember, look at where they're coming from. They're going to be challenged. So this is an inner process that we really need to see and look at our own stuff and what is just simply not true. This is a time for radical self-honesty. Saturn and Sagittarius on the galactic center. Radical self-honesty. Really throwing all of our stuff up on the board and looking at it. And Philip Sedgwick says again, yeah, you know, this is a time where I get to be wrong about. I get to be wrong about what I said last week. I get to be wrong about what I have felt for years. I get to be wrong about what I told you, okay, 2 months ago, or when I married you, or when I left you. I get to be wrong about these things. You know, accepting. Okay, this is the only way we can defragment that disc and let go of these old illusions, non-beliefs. I said this is the end of illusion this year. And this month of April is really pivotal in this time period with 4 retrograde planets. Okay, even more than that. Yeah, I mean, you know, so it's just like this time is to say, you know what? Let go. Otherwise, we will create, and this is the other thing that can happen, other people challenging us, other people calling us liars, other people calling us wrong, other people challenging what we said, who we are, what we stand for, what we said 5 years ago, 10 years ago, all this stuff, that all these ancient old patterns that are coming up from lifetimes and relationships from past lifetimes. It's really calling us out. Are you really in your truth? And this also calls us what? To know ourselves. We can get caught in a place of indecisiveness. It's like, well, God, you know, I really don't know what I said, or, you know, I really don't know how I feel, or I don't know, you know, where that came from, or that was an impulsive, you know, telling you to screw off. I was just, you know, it's like these Freudian slips, you know, come out, and we reveal unconscious beliefs. So unconscious beliefs becoming conscious can disrupt our stability. It disrupts our identity. So this is like revelation, and that revelation creates instability, insecurity, and a desire to run back, cling to the old, cling to the past, cling to the familiar, not change. And this is where we get stuck in the past and we do not evolve. Or we go in and we look at our karma, and this is what the last point I wanted to make, because I could go on forever. Venus conjuncts with Chiron. Okay, the Sabian symbol for the 27th degree of Pisces is a harvest moon. A harvest is a harvesting of what we have sown, the seeds we have sown. And not only that we've sown the seeds, but we have cultivated. We've pulled the weeds. We've watered. Okay, we've gotten rid of the bugs. Okay, you know, this is a time of harvesting what we have sown, or what we have not sown, and what we have not cultivated. This is the karmic aspect. Yeah? Every action gets an equal and opposite reaction. And we can even say that, you know what, as you sow, so shall you reap. Okay, as you sow, you can actually reap more than you've sown if you have cultivated it. And if you've been under illusions, if you have been lying, if you have been out of your integrity, if you have been, this is a time where, guess what, it's all going to backfire on you. And we can all be experiencing, and this is the pressure, you know, we're actually questioning ourselves, but we can project it out and be like getting backed into a corner, backed against the wall, having to prove ourselves, having to repeat ourselves, having to justify ourselves, and the stress and the pressure, and it's just like building, and it's just like, yeah, absolutely. You need to look at yourself, and if you're not looking at yourself, the world is going to help you see yourself. So it's almost like we have to see our realities, like it or not, you know, unconscious or conscious or not, you know. We are getting smacked. Saturn is freaking third dimensional reality, okay? And it's on the galactic center, you know. And squaring, you know, Venus coming in to square it. It's like, oh, God. Wow. We're talking high pressure. So this is not a time to gamble, speculate, take risks. This is a time to be very conscious and only commit and only say and hold your words. Saturn is maturity. This is a huge phase of growing up, of being objective and saying, how would King Arthur handle this? Okay, how would, the Queen handle this? Get into the king and the queen archetype of respectability, dignity, patience, objectivity, responsibility. Yeah, just like really look at the big, wide, broad picture and make the decisions, make your comments, make your responses from a place of calm. And the tendency will be knee-jerk reaction. I am so stressed and so freaked and I don't want to do this anymore or talk about this anymore. I just want out and I'll say anything to get out. And that's where the slip comes in. And that's what gets you, man. But then that's how you see yourself. So, yeah, it's a trip, isn't it? Woo! In order to go forward, I need to take a step back and clean up all my karma so I can get on track. It's garbage time, man. Time to sweep out the corners, get the skeletons out of the closet. Yeah, clean out that garage. Dust out all the cobwebs out of the brain, out of the memory, out of the, let's say, time to come into clarity. This is what's going to result. After April, okay, this moon's node's going to move into Leo. A lot of things are going to, Mercury's going to go direct, Venus will be direct, and, so this is just like, what? We need to, like, back up, check it out, clean it out, so we can really rip. May you rip in peace. Yeah, baby. One more time. In order to go forward, I need to take a step back and clean up all my karma so I can get on track. We've got some of our anchors stuck in the mud, and the boat wants to leave the harbor. So let's dive down there, free up that anchor, so we can sail. Namaste. Aloha. So much love.